Tadej Pogacar at a very young age has already established himself as a name in the world of cycling with daring attacks, incredible triumphs, and his light-hearted nature at times in races. The Slovenian superstar has really showed the world his immense generational talent, and his appetite for winning has no limit. Pogacar is truly a living legend and looks to have changed what it means to be a top rider in the world of cycling forever. Tadej Pogacar was born September 21st, 1998 in Komenda, Slovenia. From an early age, he displayed a natural affinity for cycling. His journey began on the professional level with Rog Ljubljana Cycling Club, where he had several big results, notably finishing third in the Tour of Hungary in 2017, and the following year he really stepped up, finishing fourth in the Tour of Slovenia and winning the Tour de l'Avenir without a stage win, however. This victory was a clear indication of his potential, and it wasn't long before the professional teams came knocking. Pogacar subsequently joined UAE Team Emirates in 2019, and despite the high expectations, his start with the team was not immediately triumphant at the Tour Down Under. However, he quickly found his stride, winning the Vuelta al Algarve, a performance that marked the beginning of his rapid rise in professional cycling. The Tour of California was the next world tour for the young Pogacar, and fellow Tour de l'Avenir winner Egan Bernal had dominated the previous edition, so it was up to Tadej Pogacar to show what he could do. On stage 2, finishing up South Lake Tahoe, Tadej Pogacar managed to follow the strongest riders to come in fourth. The following day, he finished 10th into Morgan Hill, and on stage 5 he was 9th on the stage into Ventura. So this meant that coming into the Queen stage, the Slovenian superstar in the making was sitting 4th, 16 seconds down on their leader and former winner of the race, TJ Van Garderen. The penultimate stage was the big test, Mount Baldy. Pogacar, in the crucial moment of the stage, managed to get up the road with Sergio Higuita, and a bit of unfortune for the Colombian rider, where he misjudged the final turn, meant that Tadej Pogacar could lift his arms up for the second time in his young career. Following the final stage, it was confirmed that he was the winner, 16 seconds ahead of Sergio Higuita and 17 seconds down to Kesper Eskre. On top of the win, Tadej Pogacar also became the youngest winner of the race, surpassing the record of Egan Bernal, and this looks to be a record that will stand the test of time since the race has not come back. Pogacar later in the year lined up for his first ever Grand Tour, the Vuelta a España. Pogacar showed that he was not just there to make up the numbers and survive, he was there to compete after finishing 8th on stage 2 already. On stage 9, he began to stamp his authority on the race, which was a tough 94.4 kilometer stage in Andorra, and also meant that he ascended the GC, heading from 9th to 5th as he took the victory. On stage 13, on the final climb, the race leader of Roglic dissected the race with 2 stinging attacks with 3 kilometers to go, first dropping the Colombians of Miguel Angel Lopez and Nairo Quintana on the grueling slopes. However, Pogacar was the only rider to endure the attacks and consequently cooperate with his compatriot in the final kilometers to extend their advantage over the chasers, and Tadej Pogacar managed to take the stage win. Not content in his first Grand Tour, the 20-year-old wonder kid on stage 20 launched a long-ranged attack 5 kilometers from the top of the only challenge, the Pena Negra, and he managed to open up a gap of 1 minute and 40 seconds by the top of the Pena Negra. He maintained his advantage down the 20-kilometer descent, up the false flat, and on the approach to the final climb, and up the final climb itself, a third category ascent. Valverde was the man who finished second, 1 minute and 32 seconds down to the Slovenian wonder. This also meant that Tadej Pogacar leaped onto the podium, finishing third overall, an incredible feat for a neo-pro in his first ever Grand Tour, not just surviving and trying to manage it through, but dominating with 3 stage wins. The panache was delightful to see as well for the youngster. Compared to some of the other greats of this era, Alberto Contador and Froome in their first Grand Tour, it was not as incredible as this. Contador in his first Grand Tour, he finished 31st in 2005 at the Tour de France, and Froome equally at the Tour was 82nd in his debut Grand Tour, whilst his fellow Tour de l'Avenir winner of Egan Bernal was not inside the top 10 and had the path of working for someone else. Pogacar's impressive showing at the 2019 Vuelta a España solidified his status as a rising star, and as 2020 approached, expectations were sky high. 2020 also marked his first Tour de France, and of course this was delayed a bit because of the pandemic. Throughout the race, Pogacar demonstrated his remarkable climbing ability and tenacity, consistently challenging the race leader and fellow Slovenian Primož Roglic once more. Roglic, riding for Team Jumbo-Visma, had been in the yellow jersey since stage 9 and seemed poised to secure his first Tour de France victory. Entering stage 20, an individual time trial from Lure to La Planche de Belleville, Roglic, holding a 57-second lead over Pogacar and a good time trialist, seemed like he had this in the bag. The stage, spanning 36.2 kilometers, featured a mix of flat terrain and a brutal final climb, making a decisive battleground for the general classification. September 19th, 2020 will forever be etched in cycling history. Pogacar started the time trial with nothing to lose and everything to gain. From the onset, he attacked the course with unparalleled intensity, showcasing not only his physical prowess but also his mental fortitude. His performance on the flat section was impressive, but it was on the climb to La Planche de Belleville that Pogacar truly unleashed the inner beast. As he ascended the punishing slope, Pogacar seemed to defy the limits of human endurance. His pedaling was smooth yet powerful, his focus unyielding. Spectators and commentators alike were in awe as he steadily closed the gap on Roglic's general classification lead. With each pedal stroke, the improbable became more possible. The cycling world watched in disbelief as the time splits revealed Pogacar's dominance and incredible power. Crossing the finishing line, Pogacar had not only won the stage but also obliterated Roglic's lead, gaining 1 minute and 56 seconds on his compatriot. This extraordinary act catapulted him into the yellow jersey, securing the first Tour de France victory at an age of just 21 years old. He became the youngest winner of the race since 1904 and the first Slovenian to claim the prestigious title. The impact of Pogacar's performance on stage 20 reverberated throughout the cycling community. It was a moment that transcended the sport, embodying the triumph and determination of the talent and sheer willpower. Pogacar's victory was not just a win, it was a statement, a declaration of his arrival as a dominant force in professional cycling. And since this fateful day, Pogacar has of course continued to build on his legacy, and he successfully defended his Tour de France in 2021 with an even more imperious dominance, and winning, like he did in 2020, the mountains jersey and the white jersey along with the yellow jersey. His ability to conquer both the time trials and the mountain stages in these two Tour de France's was incredible, and the strategic acumen as well has made him a very well-rounded and formidable competitor, not even giving up when he's on the wrong end of the victory in 2022 and 2023 when Jonas Vingegaard was the force at the Tour. Pogacar battled hard, reluctant to give anything and still taking stage victories. While Pogacar's Grand Tour success are well documented, his prowess as well came alongside this in the one-day races, where he also established himself as a versatile and feared competitor. In the 2021 edition of Liège-Bastogne-Liège, he really showcased his explosive power and tactical intelligence, winning the sprint towards the end. But perhaps the best account of his one-day performances was when he shocked the world in 2022 when the Tour de France champion went to the Tour of Flanders, where he impressed by being able to follow Mathieu van der Poel, and in 2023 not just following Mathieu van der Poel but also beating him, dispatching of the Dutchman, and he even won Amstel Gold and Flèche Wallonne that year, including Paris-Nice before that, and that is something that not even Eddy Merckx has been able to do in the same period. Then fast forwarding to 2024, and this is of course the best season Tadej Pogacar has had to date. He was eager to prove his doubters wrong from 2023, and he had lofty ambitions of winning both the Giro d'Italia and the Tour de France in the same year. His season began in Strade Bianche, where he left no prisoners with an attack 81 kilometers from the finish, which he was able to sustain all the way to the finishing line, and in turn this meant he also broke the record for the largest winning margin in the young race's history. Pogacar even attempted to win Milan-San Remo but came up short, but still managing to climb onto the podium, snatching the final podium spot from Mats Pedersen. From there he dominated the Vuelta a Catalunya with 4 stage wins, something almost unseen in a one-week stage race, and this form he carried into Liège-Bastogne-Liège, which once again, attacking on La Redoute, and taking the win. Absolutely phenomenal. Then his next goal was the Giro d'Italia, his first ever participation of the race. He quickly found success, winning on stage 2 and even winning the first time trial on stage 7, and then followed it up by winning the Pranto di Tivo stage as well, and then continuing into the next mountains as well on stage 15 and 16, taking more victories and even solidifying the victory with a victory lap on the Monte Grappa, where he took the victory there as well, and he even passed yours truly on the climb. Pogacar won the Giro d'Italia title, the Maglia Rosa, and on top of that also the Mountains jersey, along with its 6 stage wins with a margin of almost 10 minutes, the biggest one we've seen in the Giro in 59 years, and 6 wins by a GC rider is simply remarkable and something we haven't seen since the likes of Eddy Merckx. After the rest from the Giro d'Italia, it was the next goal, the Tour de France, where Pogacar did have some fortune with his key rivals all crashing out in the same crash in the Tour of the Basque Country. But that aside, Pogacar was simply phenomenal in the first week. He got the yellow jersey on stage 2 after a fierce battle on San Luca with Jonas Vingegaard, but it wasn't until the first mountain stage where he truly flexed his climbing prowess by dropping Vingegaard and the rest and descending down to yet another stage victory. And he even went on to win stage 14 and 15, plus in the final week he looked supreme on Isola, winning on the Col de la Cueillol on stage 20 and finishing off the hat-trick in Nice on stage 21, winning the final time trial. Simply remarkable by Tadej Pogacar. Pogacar had stamped his authority on the race with a winning margin of 6 minutes and 17 seconds down to Jonas Vingegaard, who had won the 2 previous editions, and this also meant that he became the first rider since Marco Pantani to win the Giro Tour double. The next big goal was the World Championships. He did win them at GP Montreal, but for Pogacar, the rainbow jersey was the big thing. He was the red-hot favorite, and he knew it as well. Pogacar on the recon ride really showed his intentions with a high-speed attack on this sharpest part of the hill, and I was even part of the Slovenian train briefly, and check that video out if you haven't already. In the race itself, Slovenia had controlled the race and injected some tempo on the climb on one of the last laps of the circuit, 104 kilometers from the finish, and Pogacar attacked with 100 kilometers from the finish and soon bridged up to his teammate Jan Tratnik, who cleverly had been placed in one of the breakaway moves, and Tratnik was able to assist Pogacar for a bit. Subsequently, Pogacar eventually dropped all the breakaway riders and benefited from the lack of cohesion from the other favorites in the chasing group, and then it happened. The Slovenian achieved the unthinkable. The Triple Crown was his, last being achieved in 1987 by Steeman Roach, and also a feat achieved by Eddy Merckx, but now this feat belonged to Tadej Pogacar, a feat that seemed simply untouchable in the modern era of specialization and everything. Here we had it. Tadej Pogacar did the unthinkable. He made the dream come true. But Pogacar as well also has one of the biggest tallies we've seen in the UCI rankings. Pogacar, 17 stage wins to his name in the Tour de France, 3 Tour de France titles, 1 World Championship, 3 Il Lombardia titles from 3 appearances, and now adding this rainbow jersey on top of this humongous body of achievements by this 26-year-old rider is simply remarkable. 86 wins to his name so far, and I'm sure it's gonna go past 100 very soon. But anyways, with that, that's basically it for this video. Make sure to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel here on The Cycling Dane, and of course, as always, comment down below what you thought of Tadej Pogacar and what an astonishing feat that was. But for now, thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next one.